Okay, I'm going to take the idea of HUndertwasser and I'm going to use my own house. The first thing I'm going to do is very lightly sketch out the front of my house. So I'm going to just pop in the windows, got a bit coming here. So I'm just lightly drawing out the front. I'm not actually putting in any major details, just popping in where I've got some steps here coming down. Okay. Front there, yeah. My windows, just. And then I'm thinking about, to rub that line out, about how he doesn't have normal roof shapes. He likes these onion domes. I always think they look like onions. So I'm just going to pop those on those areas there, just slightly. Now I need to think about, this is the basis of my house. My door is on the side here, but you can't see it. And think about how I set this house within a landscape like he does, because if we remember, if we look at his work, the buildings belong to the land because he believed that we are part of nature and we should look after nature. So I'm slowly starting to run through my building some wavy lines and I'm extending them out either side, and then I'm going to run through another one. I'm just stepping it there so it looks like this is slightly in front of the other building, and then I'm going to run it out here. Now I have a lot of plants here. Now we know he draws trees like lollipops, so I'm going to actually put some smaller lollipop shapes here for my plants to sort of give that feel of nature here. And by overlapping them, I'm going to get the feel of depth to my picture. Things in front of each other helps create that depth, okay? And then I'm going to just add some more lines running through my building. Okay, so it's basic shape really. I will also add some lines within my domes, which is why it reminds me of an onion, because when you slice an onion in half, you sort of see these lines, because I'm quite keen on his lines. Now the windows themselves, I don't really want to keep them looking like a traditional window, so I'm going to sort of give them more of his feel, because he tends to be quite creative with his windows, and he will have the shape and then he'll have an outline colour, and then he might have different colours within where the glass would be. So that's going to be one set of windows, and I'm going to draw an outside shape here, still using a light pencil, not pressing hard, and then I'm going to have that shape, and then I might add a few different shapes there. I might also decide to put some shapes within the building itself to make it slightly more interesting and more linked to him. Now the other thing he does is he's talking about man being part of nature and, you know, buildings being part of the land, not taking over the land, is to add faces to hint at this idea of us being part of nature. So if you've got family members that you want to include, you can always include those within your landscape as well if you wish. So I think he's put them in the sun as well, put faces in the sun. So I'm going to, on this side, I'm going to add some eyes, but I'm going to join the eyes up and they're going to run through into the land again. So if we think of eye shapes, we're thinking of sort of a lemon shape, and then we're going to have sort of just some hints of what could possibly be the eye there, and I just put a lid in, and then I might have some lines underneath, just hid, and then in here I might decide to put a mouth. So I'm just starting to build up this face, and then maybe some circles for a nose, just to give the hint that there's a face within the landscape. Okay, lovely. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add colour. Now, colour is super important to HUndertwasser. He's not into his dull colours, as we all know, having researched him. He's into really bright colours. But the key is when we're putting greens maybe in for our landscape, that we do shades. We'll do a darker green and a lighter green, darker green, lighter green. So we get those shades or tones of green rather than just doing a flat colour. And that's quite important.